Welcome to the Midnight Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Easton Bennett, alongside my fellow co-host, Tyler and Easton. We are both entrepreneurs who are learning, growing, and building our businesses. Our goal is to share our experience and knowledge to help you grow and become a successful entrepreneur. Strap in. Before we get started, if you have any questions you'd like us to cover or answer, you can email us at themidnightentrepreneur@gmail.com. If you'd like to join our business Discord where we talk about wins, business problems, or general questions, shoot us a message and we will get you in there. Tyler, how's it going? Wednesday morning.
It is Wednesday morning. It's a little bit different timing, but you know what? We're here, we're showing up, and we're going to get this done. It's going pretty good, man. What about you?
Not too bad. I'm here against my will, being forced to film this episode.
It was supposed to be last night. No excuses, my man.
No, I needed to make sure you hit your 9 o'clock bedtime, so that's why.
I don't care. I would have pushed it back. I got no options, no option mentality. It's got to get done.
But we did have options.
I got to push. No, we didn't. We got to push it. No, it's what's it called? Non-negotiables.
That's fair, but I think this one was a negotiable, and I did do a fine job of negotiating. Tyler, what's going on since the last time we talked?
Yeah, so I got my ebook finished, which is one thing that I've been saying that I want to get done before I do start reaching out to people. So it's pretty much done. I just want to maybe have someone look it over first before I put it out there and just critique it a little bit. But yeah, I got that done, so I'm happy about that. It came out pretty much longer than I expected it to be, but I wanted to somewhat be as in-depth as possible and deliver as much valuable, good information as possible. So yeah, it came out around 30 pages, so got that finished. Happy about that.
No, it's good. I know you sent me an email to look it over, which I haven't had a chance to get to yet, but I will take a look at that when I have a second. Yeah, no, that's good. I mean, what's the average? Sorry, go ahead.
It can be your reading material for your flight to Vegas.
That's true. I could do that. What do you usually do on flights? Do you watch movies? Do you read? Do you work? Me personally, what I ended up doing was downloading the Kindle app, and now I got some what's it called? Books, some books on my phone now. So now that I have that, I'll do that. Or if I do have a physical book, I'll do that. Or I'll just maybe take a nap. I think the one time I was actually editing our podcast, some clips, but yeah, that's usually what I do. Maybe take a nap, eat some snacks. Yeah, if I had a better laptop, I'd probably work a little bit more, but we'll see what I can do. I can definitely look at the ebook for sure. 30 pages. What is the usual ebook length? Do you know?
I don't know. I feel like it all depends on, especially the industry as well, and just the topic and amount of information. I know a lot of the ebooks that we use for our clients, they usually range from about maybe 5 is on the really low end, but I'd say a good average would be about 10 to 15 to 20. So I'd say it's a little bit more. It's fairly picture heavy. I mean, somewhat. There's a lot of text in it. I just wanted to break it up with pictures as well. So yeah, I think it just depends on the industry and what the topic is. So
you're just giving out so much information. It needed to be 30.
Trying to, man. So I ended up forgetting a part, and then I was like, oh shit. So then I had to it just sucked having to wiggle it in there, because it's like I got everything already done, and then it's like I'm only adding a paragraph, and then it's like I'm pushing stuff, I'm fixing the alignment and everything, and I'm just trying to squeeze it in. And then I thought of another thing that I forgot, and I'm like, oh man. So I don't know if I'm gonna try and squeeze that in there too, but yeah, it's tough once you have it all figured out and it's all done, and then you think of a few more sentences, and then it just pushes everything around, and it's like, oh man, this sucks. This is going to be tough to squeeze it in there.
Yeah. Are they important sentences?
Yeah, the one was about targeting, and then the other one's about just a different way to reach new audiences. So I was just going to include a little snippet on just commenting on people's posts. I think that's a good value add for your social platforms, just to put yourself out there and get recognized a little bit more. So I did want to add that in there as well.
Yeah, maybe you can do some formatting where you rewrite a couple sentences after that to make them a bit more concise, so you can push one more in there.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah, might need to do that.
I'm excited to look it over, see how it is. I know we've been talking about it here for a couple weeks, so that'll be good to look over. What else you got on the docket, Tyler?
Yeah, and one of the other things that so with the ebook, it's going to be getting put into a workflow, and then I need forms. So I'm debating between a couple different email providers that I'll be choosing between either MailChimp or Brevo. And I've never heard of Brevo before, but I was just doing some research and I ended up stumbling upon them. And it seems like they used to be called Send in Blue. All their branding is formally known as so I'm assuming that used to be pretty popular because that's what it is. But then I'm looking over different reviews and seeing what things are, and it just seems like MailChimp has that brand name and Brevo seems to be decent, so and fairly new, and pricing seems to be all right. So I might just need to just pick MailChimp and just go with it, or just pick one of them and go with it instead of just debating between two platforms that are both going to get the job done. It's just got to choose one, roll with it. So, and then the last thing, I just feel like I've been stuck and feel like I'm in the Matrix right now, and just every day is the same, and it just sucks right now. But I don't know if that's just part of the suck and part of the hard. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the email stuff goes, do they offer free trials so you could try it for a week or 2 days or?
I think MailChimp does. I think they do. I don't know about Brevo if they do, but yeah, I think doing a free trial would be good, beneficial to see what if they each accomplish what I want. So I think that could be good.
Yeah, I always try to do the free trials. Even if I know I'm going to use the product, I'm like, I'll save a month on it, or I'll save a week on it.
Right.
So yeah, I'd look into that a little. Yeah, I'd look into that a little bit. I know MailChimp is that brand name, kind of like the Apple of the email world. And you asked that in the business Discord, and someone else gave you another app or platform or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was extremely similar to HubSpot, but it just seemed more of a CMS for emailing. So, or CRM for emailing. So, and that's not really what I was looking for. I was looking more so for like forms, workflows, and just a whole system of stuff that I can, whenever someone submits a form, just something like that.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm excited to hear about the updates with that as we go on in the next couple of weeks. As far as the suck, yeah, I mean, sometimes you just get in those ruts and it's like everything feels the same. You got to figure out the things you enjoy doing, do more of that.
Well, the thing is, I'm working out, and that's one of the things I really enjoy, and I'm just not enjoying it. So I was thinking like maybe I need to get some pre-workout, or I don't know, switch some things around. But yeah, even like working out, it's like, oh man, I don't even feel like being here. It just sucks. So I think the only thing I somewhat enjoy is the running, but I don't really. It's just like I like pushing myself, and my knees are hurting. So yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I wish I could help you out on that front, but I do not run, so you're on your own for that one. As far as my end goes, had a couple projects here the last couple days. Pretty busy. Been driving all over the state for some oil field shoots. One thing I realized is that when working with advertising agencies, I let the process and workflows go a little bit because it's an advertising agency and there's a middle person for the project. Whereas after these two projects, I'm going to stay strict to this is exactly how we're doing it. Like if it was just a regular client, because working the last 2 days was an absolute mess. Nothing was planned. Nothing was organized. We had our pre-planning meeting last Wednesday, and then we filmed yesterday and today. So literally 4 and 5 days later. So yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore because it's just a nightmare. And I was so upset yesterday because the 8-hour day could have been turned into 12 hours plus traveling back to Minot. And I was like, this is a goddamn nightmare. And they're just like, oh, can we do this? And can we drive here? And can we do this? And this? And then they're like, are we going to get charged more? I'm like, you're getting charged more already because we're at 10 and a half hours and I haven't even left the city we're in. And I still got to drive home. So I'm like, it was just very frustrating. But that's on my end for not doing that up front. So that's one thing that I realized.
So it was supposed to be 8 hours and then it turned into 12 hours?
I
Because
mean,
they just kept asking for stuff?
I give some wiggle room where if I'm charging a full day, it's in that 8 to 10. If it's fine and the client's good and we have to push it past 8 hours a little bit, that's totally fine. After 10, I pretty much charge no matter what. And then if there's what I call the asshole tax, you might get charged even a little bit more because you're just stupid. You don't have shit planned. Super annoying. It's just some people are just, I don't know. There's some clients you get like that are just nightmare clients. I'm not going to bash on anyone, but it's like, some people just don't get it, man.
What if they listen to this?
Then they should be learning what they did horribly wrong, and then they're good to go.
Yeah.
Maybe call the place we're supposed to shoot before 7 minutes before we're supposed to drive out there.
Mm.
And even on like, oil field sites, you go out there, you have to get permission to do everything.
Okay.
You shouldn't have to be calling corporate the day of to try to get permission for something. So that's just one of the things I'm like, why are we just sitting here for 45 minutes? Watch someone back a truck up for 30 minutes. Some chick was backing a giant truck up. We just sat there and watched it.
Was it the same client that we did that one project for, or was it someone new?
No, new client. Two new ones. So yeah, it was just a nightmare in general, but I'll leave it at that. Other than that, when you guys are listening to this, I'll be in Vegas, enjoying all this stress relieved from whatever I've been doing the last week. So that'll be good news. But we will not miss any episodes. So that is a good thing. Other than that, I think it's not a ton to update on.
Have you not heard back from Pennsylvania yet?
I haven't reached out to him. So he reached out and said he was working with a couple, or he's talking to a couple other agencies. And I emailed back and said, okay, cool. When's a good time to reach out if I haven't heard back from you? And I haven't heard back from that email. So I think I'll give it till, either the end of this week or next week. Shoot him an email. Maybe I'll just schedule an email while I'm in Vegas, Monday morning or something, and ask him how it went meeting with the other video production agencies. But yeah, I haven't heard anything back as far as concrete information goes.
So he's still meeting with them, because it seems like he's either really busy or might not be interested, which would suck. But yeah,
he was as of like 2 or 3 days ago, maybe Monday. He still had to meet with the companies. So,
okay.
I don't know. It could be a combination of all those things. Price, maybe I threw him too much for a price. Maybe he just wants to work with someone local. Maybe he really hasn't talked to anybody else and he wants to do that. He's doing a lot. He has a shit ton of companies, so I could understand if he was busy. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. How that goes.
Do you think the price you lobbed him was too high, or was it in the range of what he's looking for, or it should be at least?
I think it should be in the range of what he should be expecting for what he was asking for. So what he wanted was like 25 different commercials.
Jeez.
Yeah. So it was a shit ton of videos, plus you flying out to Pennsylvania to film everything, and the editing. He said the editing was the biggest thing, and he's been charged before for like 120 hours of video editing. I don't know. Let's say it's at $100. That's $12,000 right there. So wow. He should be expecting those numbers. It shouldn't blow him out of the water. I think the ranges were from 35K to around 65 or 65 plus. So it's not insane.
3 packages.
Yep. And it was like 35 for just me and maybe one other person to come. And then it was like 45 for like a small team to come, and then like 55 or 60 for a bigger team to come. So I don't know what he'll say. I never get my hopes up for these things, because it's like there's so many moving parts. Is he really going to say yes to a $60,000 package? Who knows? It'd be awesome, but yeah, I try not to wrap my head around it too much, where it's just let him decide. If he does decide to go with it, then it's kind of a miracle client where you're just like sick. And then you work after that. But yeah, not stressing about it too much.
Yeah. Well, hopefully hear back from him soon. At least get an answer of what he's thinking, what in his direction.
Yeah,
so
yes or no.
They're waiting.
Yeah, a yes or no would be cool. And I know some clients are weird about that, where they won't even give you a yes or no. And it's like, I don't care if you say no, just let me know so we're not sitting here in limbo. That's the most annoying part.
What do they give you? they just ghost
Don't
you, or
answer.
they just
Yeah. Which is kind of an answer in and of itself after you haven't heard from them in a while. But I always like to say like, hey, not interested. Thanks. You know,
yeah,
even
makes
if it's
sense.
sad, it's like, okay, that's fine. But yeah, that's kind of all the updates I got. We'll move into this week's news story. Tesla is charging partnerships, charging or changing?
Charging.
Okay. Charging partnerships with Ford and GM, and what that means for the EV industry. Tyler, I'll let you kind of take this one away to start, and then I'll kind of bounce back off you.
So basically what's happening is it's kind of ironic that I found this because I was just meeting up with a buddy in Detroit, and he works at GM, and we were actually talking about electric because he works on the EVs and electric charging stations and all that, and he was showing me the different outlets and inputs and everything for that, and how there's different actual plugs for everything. So you know how if you go to, I don't know if you ever saw them, but like say in Europe, there's different plugs on the wall compared to say North America. So it's the same thing with EVs where all the charging stations are different. So the plug for North American cars, say for GM or Ford, is going to be different from Tesla. So it was really interesting to see that. And it's ironic that I ended up finding this article. And basically what's happening is Ford and GM are basically going to, I think Tesla's going to be charging them to be able to use their charging stations because I think they have like advanced technology and they have really good supercharging stations, I think. And I just don't think Ford and GM can really compete with that. And basically what they're going to be doing, I think, is switching their charging inputs or outputs to Teslas, and then they're going to be using those models so they're able to basically use their charging stations as opposed to, and then they don't have to invest all this infrastructure into all these charging stations, and it's just more of a fee that you're paying to Tesla, and then it just seems like another revenue stream for Tesla. But then at the same time, GM and Ford don't have to invest billions of dollars into charging stations all around North America, the world. So yeah, that's basically what's going on.
It seems like it's a bigger win for Tesla than it is for the other. I mean, it's a win-win, but Tesla's really not losing anything here.
Yeah, I don't think so. Just because everyone's going to be, they're going to be the norm. So everyone's having to follow Tesla. And then it seems like at the same time, it's similar to like a licensing model where you're paying them to use your proprietary information or technology. So I think it just goes to show when you have the best type of product or you have the best product out there on the market, people are going to flock to you and just follow you, and you're going to be the trendsetter. So yeah, I think it's pretty big for Tesla and big moves for Elon, the GOAT.
It's kind of like how Kleenex is, everyone knows a tissue as Kleenex, but really Kleenex is just a brand of tissue. Yeah. Whereas now all these chargers, you're going to think are EV chargers, but really it's Tesla.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting because you always say, "Can you give me a Kleenex?" And it's like, "Oh, this isn't Kleenex. This is Charmin."
Yeah, our family or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know any others.
Yeah, but Kleenex is positioned exactly right. They've positioned themselves as the literally change their
gold
brand
standard
into the product. But yeah, that'll be super interesting to see. I mean, it also is better for the consumer because now any EV that you might have, just go to one of these chargers. So as long as it's uniform, then you don't have to deal with the hassle of, oh, there's a Tesla charger there, but I need to find a Ford charger or whatever it might be. So I think it's a win-win-win for the companies partnering with Tesla itself, and the consumer.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast the other day and they were talking about EVs and cars, and it seems like it's interesting because they don't seem like they're fully into EVs. I think it was GM where they're still investing so much more money into, no, it was Ford, where they're still because I think they were talking about the Mustang. They're still investing so much more money into like these regular cars that take gas, and does EVs take oil?
I'm not sure if they have oil changes or not.
Yeah, I don't know. But they're still investing so much into that infrastructure on that end and not really investing, like doubling down on EV, just because EVs, I don't know, because it just seems like it's part of that narrative and that push towards green energy and all that. So it's just interesting.
After a quick Google search, EVs do not need an oil change, which kind of I kind of was leaning that direction, but
Same here. I wasn't 100% sure though.
yeah. See, we're the fact checking podcast right here. We just want to make sure we don't lead you guys astray. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, do you think you'll own an EV one day?
I think the only EV I would own is a Tesla, just because it's from the GOAT. But I don't know. I like, maybe I like Audis, and Audis seem to have some EVs out there, and they seem like really advanced. So I don't know. I really like the Audi R8, and I don't think that's EV. So
yeah,
I don't know.
It'd be tough to get one if I'm still in North Dakota, because I think driving in the winter with them is pretty difficult. But maybe if I have the money one day, it can be my summer vehicle.
Yeah, and especially if you do, I don't know if you do any like road trips or anything, and it might be tough being stranded out there in the middle of North Dakota, because don't got many charging stations out there, I feel like.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Maybe if I'm driving to Denver, I'm like, I just got to get out of North Dakota, South Dakota, and then I'm good. We do have one Tesla charger here in Minot, though, at Minot Automotive.
Really?
Actually, no, there's two now. There's one at, I think there's a couple. There's one at Minot Automotive, and now they just put one in at Ryan GMC. So,
wow.
Available for
Why
the
not
public.
stepping up their game?
Yeah, right. A little bit behind, but they're trying to. All right, Tyler, you ready to get into this week's topic?
Yeah, I think I'm about ready.
Cool. So this week we're going to be talking about going out there, learning something new, and kind of the mindset behind it, willing to go learn things, how you can learn things, what you need to learn, where you can learn them. And that's kind of what we're going to be diving into. So Tyler, what has been your mantra, your mindset about learning new things as you go through your business journey?
My mantra. Interesting question. I think the way I look at it is the best way to learn is by doing. And I think I even had that thought within school as well, where like I just sitting there and listening to someone talk, you don't really learn as much. It's like going out there and doing it, and maybe like following along at the same time, because that's been a big part of how I've been learning along the way. And basically, whenever I don't have, this is one thing that I think forgot to include in there, but it's like entrepreneurs don't really think of, oh, I don't know how to do that, I can't do it. It's, oh, I don't know how to do this, how can I learn how to do this? So that's pretty much how I go about it. It's like, okay, I don't know how to do this, how am I going to learn how to do it? So I go and try and learn how to do it.
Do you think the layman, the regular people, just automatically think, I don't know how to do it, and then move on?
Maybe the layman. Yeah, I think, yeah, maybe just complain about it. I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of like people that are like, oh, I don't know how to edit videos, I can't do that.
Yeah,
like, well, you can
and
learn
then they
how
just
to do
always exactly, and then they always just have that excuse. It's like, oh, I can't do that because I don't know how to do it. And it's like, okay, you could go and learn. It's like, I don't really feel like doing it.
Yeah, I'm like,
So whereas like, yeah, it's like the motivation to just go out there and actually want to learn it and actually be willing to learn new things. Like you have to have that willingness to learn, because if you don't have that willingness to learn, you're just going to be staying stagnant and not going to be growing.
Do you think there's a difference between when you're learning at the very beginning, you don't really have money, and then when you're learning down the road, when you do have a little bit of money to put towards these things to learn?
I think you find more unique solutions to come up with to solve your issues that you have. So when you don't have money, it's like, okay, what are my resources that I'm going to be able to invest in to be able to learn how to do it? So you could go to YouTube, that's free. You could ask your friends and family, so you could ask your network. So that's also free. So I think it's just different ways. Whereas when you do have money, you could maybe say, hire a coach. Maybe like, I know Alex Hormozy doesn't like doing it, but maybe pay him like $100,000 for an hour. And then it's like him teaching you. So I think it's just different ways. And then it's just your willingness to be able, or wanting to invest, because like maybe you can invest right now. You just can't afford Alex Hormozy. You can afford this $50 coach.
Yeah. And it's, you got to probably work up to the level of getting those high end people. But yeah, in the beginning, you kind of have to figure it out on your own, watch YouTube videos, ask people, maybe buy a course for a couple $100, whatever it is. And then as you get more money, you can either start getting personal mentors or bigger programs like the one I'm in now. But that comes with obviously the willingness. You have to want to learn these things because it's only going to one up what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know if this is going to be like the same topic, but maybe for a future episode, we can do the growth mindset versus fixed mindset. I don't know how similar these two would be, but yeah.
We'll space it out a couple of weeks so then people forget about this one.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Yeah. All right. So talking about a couple things with you, Tyler, what were some things that came up that you didn't really know how to do that you had to have the willingness to learn those things?
Freaking everything that I know right now. That's how it is. I never knew how to take pictures. I never knew how to use a camera. I never knew how to take videos. I didn't know how. I still don't really know how to light, but we're getting there. I didn't know how to market. I didn't know email marketing. I didn't know workflows. I didn't know ads. I didn't know all this shit. I didn't know YouTube. I didn't know Instagram. I didn't know TikTok. But once I started doing all this shit, then I started to learn the system. Then I started to learn the platforms. Then I started to learn, and then it's just a matter of doing. So there's basically everything that I know now, and it's the same thing with everything in life. I feel like too, where you never actually knew what you currently know right now, but you went out and you learned something new. So I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, basically everything. A lot of people ask me, "Oh, did you go to college for video stuff?" It's like just like you, I learned everything through YouTube in one course that cost me $600, $700, and that's how I learned everything. And it's the reason I was wanting to learn that is because one, I didn't want to work for someone, wanted to start a business, thought this was a business, and then after that, you kind of, like you said, you kind of just have to.
Do you think it's a business now?
Oh yeah, for sure. But you kind of have to decide, how am I going to figure out how to learn these things? Because college was off the table. I didn't want to go to college to learn these things. I didn't know anybody personally that could teach me these things or someone to work for to learn through experience. So it just boiled down to teaching myself, going out there and learning by doing things over and over and over, watching as many videos as I could, editing as many videos as I could, filming as many videos as I could, even if they were stupid. And that's kind of what it boiled down to is, just wanting to do those things.
Yeah. When you first started your plug hockey, that's a little bit different. How did you go about that? Did you look up YouTube videos for that? Or did you just, I don't know, you did quick Google search, or how'd you learn that?
That one I probably did less learning and maybe that shows based on the outcome that it ended. But a lot of that I was kind of just doing on my own. I would do a quick Google search here and there, but I didn't really have any structured stuff to follow. I didn't watch a ton of YouTube videos on like how to build a clothing business or how to create designs. Like I was just creating designs on what I thought looked good. But if I'd watched some graphic design YouTube videos or took a short graphic design class, I maybe would have had, better ideas, better designs. The shirts would have looked cooler. I never watched anything on how to create the shirts, whether you should go local printing or drop shipping or whatever it was. So maybe that's what was lacking in that first business, is that I didn't really want to learn. I thought I kind of knew everything, a little bit naive. But yeah, that's an interesting tandem between that first business and then Bennett Creative Media.
So I know it didn't last long, but it just seemed like a lot of trial and error where you would just go out and do it and think that you knew everything, and then if it worked, it worked. If it didn't, it didn't.
But yeah, it was a lot of trial and error. And like you said, it's a little bit easier to learn things when you do either one, research a lot of videos or find someone to learn from. And that I was just, not that I was unwilling to do it, I just didn't know that was something I needed to do.
Yeah, it's like a you don't know what you don't know type of scenario, because you might think that you know everything, and then if you don't go out and research more stuff, you don't really know how much you don't actually know, and that there is so much more stuff out there that you should be learning and doing and knowing. So
yeah, exactly. And that's where, I always say that learning through experience is always the best. Going out there and doing things, you can watch as many videos as you want, but until you actually are doing them, putting pen to the paper, they say, whether it's building a website or learning how to use social media by dinking around with things and posting things and maybe trying to run ads, running some test ads with just a few dollars. You're not going to learn that stuff without actually doing it, because If you're just watching the videos and you're like, oh, I'm a master on this thing now, that's not true.
I feel like I might know the answer to this, but for you and you not knowing what you don't know, what are some areas that was able to teach you stuff that you didn't actually know that you didn't know?
I mean, all of the video stuff, I didn't know what I didn't know, because then you get into, the audio. I didn't know that you even needed audio to start, or lighting. So a lot of those things where it's just more in depth. So you think you know the surface level, but then there's so many things that come up that are better about it, like practical lighting. I didn't even know that practical lights were ever used, and I wouldn't have figured that out without diving into all this stuff. So practical lighting is like, if there's a lamp, this would be a practical light. There's a sign on the wall. So I didn't even know that people use those, or that was a thing, until I started learning lighting. And it's like, oh, I didn't even know this. So there's a lot of things that come up like that. That's, you would never know until you actually dive in and start getting into the depth of the conversation, rather than just the surface level of what you think you're trying to learn.
But where would you say, or how would you say that you start to learn this information?
Well, I think you
like
need
for
to,
someone that,
yeah,
like for someone that doesn't really understand that they might be missing out on this information, how or where?
I think you need to get there by starting to learn or research whatever it is you know for sure. So let's say, using ads, for example, if we use Facebook ads or Google ads or whatever it is, you know that they're a thing, right? And that you're like, okay, I need to learn these. So you might go in, you start learning about ads, and you watch a couple of videos here and there. And then you might get to a part where you learn about A/B testing, and you never knew A/B testing was a thing, but you started out learning just the general ad platform. So once you go into A/B testing, then you might learn about, geofencing. Well, they don't know what geofencing is, but they found that by starting at the surface level of Google and Facebook ads. And then it goes more and more in depth and deeper into the topic, where you start learning these intricate things that, like you said, you don't know until you actually realize they're a thing. And now that you know them, is that kind of a good example of what you're looking for?
Yeah, I think it was a good example. I was thinking like also other areas that you, like with you paying for these courses, I think you end up learning a lot from these other people that have been there and that have paved the path already. And then you're learning from them as well. And then they're able to teach you along the way. So I think it's mentors and just paying for access to other people and that are also in the industry, or just maybe it's just even talking with other people in the industry.
Yeah. And, even the course I'm in now there's a lot of marketing strategies that I never would have realized. There's a lot of objections that I've never faced myself, but now I've been taught them, because I didn't even know people would say that. But now if someone does, I would know what to say. There's sales processes that's like, oh, I didn't even think about sending a welcome gift. Maybe that would be a good thing to add. And I didn't know that until I started learning from this program. So that's a good part about these programs, and willing to learn and be self-aware enough to know I don't know everything, and I don't know what I'm even looking to find or what I need to know, but something's going to come up that's going to help me because it's out there. I just don't know what it is yet.
So this is one thing that I've always struggled with, and I never really like to pay for money or pay for, say, coaching or say a course like that you've joined. What would you say to someone like me? Because I always say, you don't need a coach. I'm self-motivated. I don't need to buy the course. I know everything. What would you say to someone like me?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to start to learn and know everything on a surface level by yourself. I don't think you should go in cold turkey to these things. So if you're hiring someone for video, a mentor, you should at least know how to use your camera and be pretty proficient with it before you start getting them. I think the mentors and the coaches are for perfecting things and becoming experts rather than that surface level. So that's where you might know ads super well, but you really need to know how to make them work 100% every time, whatever it is. That's when you go the mentor and the coach route, rather than, well, I don't know how to do Google ads, let's just get a mentor and he can teach me. That's not what they're for. You should learn a lot on your own before you go to these people. They're almost the cherry on top, the polishing factor.
Yeah. Maybe I should get a ad coach or something.
There you go. And that, well, I mean, yeah, and the surface level, but going back to, on your notes, we have entrepreneurs being jacks of all trades. One common thing people might say is, well, if I don't know how to do something, I'll just hire someone to do it. But that goes down to, if you're going to hire someone to do it, you should also be able to know how to do it a little bit. So one, you can either train them on, or two, make sure they're doing things, because if you hire them and they're doing it, but you have no idea what they're doing or if they're being successful or unsuccessful, that sounds just like a failing recipe. So at least knowing the surface level, knowing it a little bit, you've implemented it a little bit to keep them honest. That's why we need to know these things rather than just saying, oh, I'll hire someone to do it.
Yeah. I think it gets to the point when you have that money, whereas when you're starting out, you don't really have that money. So then you have to have that willingness to go out and learn. Say, when I'm first starting out, say a landscaping company, maybe you just have enough money to fund the equipment that you need, but then how do you market? How do you have a website? And then you start to learn that stuff. And then once you get to the point when you can hire someone out, then you're just like, you've already done all that stuff. So now you have knowledge in that area. So that just gives you the jack of all trades, master of none thing, where you know a little bit of everything, but you don't know enough to be extremely successful. So then that's when you get to the point when you hire that specifically out, so that person can take it to the next level.
Yeah. And once you have experts in every section of whatever it might be, you got an expert in website, expert in ads, expert in editing. That's when your jack of all trades, master of none starts to excel, because you know enough to manage them, make sure they're doing things properly, but you don't need to be 100% master in social media because you have someone that's doing that for you. So I think that's when the business starts to scale and starts to grow. But in the beginning, it is difficult because you do need to wear a lot of different hats to accomplish those things.
Yeah, and it can be tough. And then you're going through this process right now where you don't really want to give up control and give up control it to people, because like that's what you've always done. But then at the same time, if you want to hit like your business goals, like you gotta learn to be able to give up on certain things. Yeah. And then buy some time back, because when you're doing everything, you're gonna be really pinched on time.
Yeah, you really have to delegate. And that's one thing. I actually have a hard drive that's transferring footage right now to hand over a few projects to an editor. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. The problem is, it's not a problem, but it's mainly like the budgeting and the pricing. Like the one editor I'm working with now, it's like, hey, here's these 3 projects. I want to know, what can you do it for? Give me a number. I'll give you the footage. You go with it. Okay. Instead of, well, I don't know how long it's going to take me. And this, I don't want you to come to me after the fact and be like, it cost $8,000. And I'm like, well, what the hell? So that's the one thing I'm battling with internally. But I think I'm going to send him a text today and say, hey, I got this project ready for you. Do you have any numbers of what you can tackle these for? Just want to make sure we're on the same page up front before I just give you the footage and then you send me an outrageous bill after the fact.
Is that the guy from North Dakota, or is it the guy that you sent me the portfolio?
From Minot, the guy from that I sent you the portfolio, I haven't heard back from, which kind of sucks, but forgot about him, honestly. So maybe I'll reach out, see what he can do, and go from there. But yeah, it's interesting to finally get to that delegation point. I also had a conversation with my current employee that's doing a lot of social media stuff, pretty surface level stuff. And I was pretty much explaining to him how the business could grow and expand if he was to learn video editing, and the potential of what I could pay him and what the business could be. And it really, I think it wet his whistle a little bit, where he's like, man, that would be actually pretty sick. And I'm like, yeah, it's a learn video. I just can't pay you to learn video. You kind of have to learn that on your own time. So that goes back to him. If he learned this skill and got proficient at it, would have a full-time job, but you have to be willing to learn, put in that work up front, to get the benefit in the long run.
Yeah, that's one thing that they talk a lot about in Arte, is you being the owner, you have to paint this massive vision for the people that work for you, and then their vision has to be able to fit inside your vision. So it has to be this massive vision of where the company is going to be going, and then that gets them on board to be able to go out there, perform well, and push themselves to want the company to succeed. So yeah, just you saying that made me think of that, where you're painting like this massive vision of what the company and where the company could get to if he is willing to go out there and do all that.
Exactly. And that's what I was trying to do. I was like, well, imagine we have all these Bismarck clients. We got these Minot clients. We got an office. And then we drove past the building that's for sale in Minot that I've been driving past for the last month. And I always say, I should buy that building. I should buy that building. I should buy that building. 650K is the problem. But yeah, I was trying to paint the picture the best I could, saying, hey, here's what your compensation would be. I could pay you this. And he's like, oh, that'd be awesome if I got paid that. Like, he would be super happy with it. And I was like, that's perfect, because then I don't have to pay you 100K or whatever it is. So yeah, I was laying that out for him, and he was getting pretty excited about it. So I'm going to have to keep bringing that up to him. It's just the problem is getting him to actually do that on his own might be difficult. So we'll see how that pans out.
Maybe you could have like an incentive structure or something to get him to get motivated. I don't know.
Yeah. And that's what I was thinking. If there's some sort of thing, like if you finish, cause I'm going to give him access to Full-Time Filmmaker, my login stuff, so he can kind of go through that. If I do some sort of stuff, like even if I'm not paying him fully what I would be if he was working like a regular day, maybe I pay him a little bit less, but that's just to work on his own time. Could maybe do that a little bit. So I'll have to figure something out, because I would like him to learn. It's not ideal. I'd like a editor that knows what they're doing, but if I can train someone into it, wouldn't be horrible either.
Yeah. And then the last thing basically here, I don't know if you have anything else, is just how you can learn and grow and just do everything. Is basically YouTube, I find, is probably one of the best places that you could do, because you're able to watch. It's very visual. The other one you could do is blogs and Google. You could ask your friends, family, your network, and ask any of those people if they're willing to help you out. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are more than willing to help out. Events, you could go to like Arte event, or maybe there's like some video production event, and then you could just network with other people that are in the same industry as you, see what's working for them, and then you're able to talk with them. And then you could also join groups like Facebook or Discord, like the one that we have. If you'd like to get in there, you can email us, and then we'll get you in there where you can network with us of other like-minded individuals. And then I think at the same time, it's just reps, just going out there, doing it on your own, and just actually putting in the effort and trying to learn. So
yeah, exactly. I would just say exhaust all of your resources, do as much as you can. And you're going to be better off in the long run. There's no perfect magic pill that you can take to make you learn everything. But as long as you keep trying and keep trying different avenues, you're going to get somewhere. And with the pill reference, that's a perfect transition into Tyler's business idea this week, the bleached pill. Tyler, what is the bleached pill?
So it's funny because now I'm on this little kick of, after the dentist telling me my teeth are stained, I'm on this like coffee kick, because I'm pretty sure my last idea was caffeinated water to avoid any stains. This one, I actually have two ideas along the same. I think this one, they kind of contradict each other. So I think I put this one in front because the other one wouldn't need this one. So this idea would be something that you could put into your coffee where it changes like the color, and then it's like translucent or see-through, and then it doesn't actually stain your teeth.
Is it just the color that stains your teeth, you think? It's got to be.
Isn't it?
I think.
I don't know. Maybe it's like the caffeine. I don't know.
I don't know.
I thought it was the color, because she also said like berries can stain your teeth and that shit. And I think there's other stuff like sodas, obviously sodas with the coloring in it. So I don't know if it's like the carbonation in there as well that does something with like your gums or your plaque, or I'm not very, I don't really know anything with like teeth and mouth and shit, but yeah, if there was just something that you'd be able to put into like a coffee, and then it could even bleach your teeth as well, so it like actually whitens them. So it's like now it's beneficial to drink coffee, and now I'm going to be drinking like 6 cups of coffee, putting them in there, and then my teeth end up getting more white the more I drink coffee. So
I think we need
something like that.
I think we'd need probably a name change if we're going to sell this on a consumer level. A bleach pill is probably not something that might sell very well, but the whiten pill may be something along that nature. The no stain, something, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I drink coffee every day, so any product that would eliminate that from staining my teeth, minus half of my teeth are fake. I don't know if it stains fake teeth or not. But yeah, I like the idea, because no one wants to have brown teeth when they're 62 years old.
Damn right. Yeah. So
Work on the name a little bit.
My next idea is going to be along these lines too. So
perfect.
Be looking
So
out for it.
yeah, you guys can stay tuned for the next idea. That's totally going to throw this one out the window, as it sounds. All right, Tyler, that's all we got for learning new things. You got anything else for the show?
No, I think that's pretty much everything. Just go out there, learn new things, be willing to learn. You don't know what you don't know, and go learn. Perfect.
We will see you guys next week. That's episode 42 of The Midnight Entrepreneur. If you have any questions you'd like us to cover or answer, email us at themidnightentrepreneur@gmail.com. If you found value in this content or found this entertaining, share this with a friend or post it on your story. If you really enjoyed the show, we'd love a rating and a review wherever you're listening. Talk to you guys next week for another episode of The Midnight Entrepreneur.
The future belongs to those who learn more skills and combine them in creative ways. Robert Greene.